If you are into software development, specifically using large language models, then this video is for you. I want to talk about a topic which is very untouched these days, but also is gaining a lot of attention. This is looking at the side where there is increasing debate among a certain group that LLMs have certain flaws and they're probably peeking out or hallucinating. So I'll try to pick them one by one and take and essentially share what my point of view is. Why should you listen to this? Because if you are building softwares using large language model, you need to be aware about this. So the first fundamental problem that we hear is, there's an hallucination happening. And hallucination is something that it's basically large language models producing information that is false or misleading, but is presented as a factual information. Sometimes it can be actually fictitious information, absolutely irrelevant. And if you think about it, it will not make any sense whatsoever within the context of the conversation. And is that a problem? Yes. There are factual inaccuracies, there's nonsensical responses, there's contradictions. But do we have ways to circumvent a lot of them? Yes. You can detect and address hallucinations by far and large. Can you get rid of it 100%? No. But the question I would want to leave this hallucination point is any software system 100% working all the time? We always get bugs, we always see that. So treat this as a bug and not a showstopper. The second is the question of, I gave LLMs to count the number of R's in the word strawberry and it's not able to, give that. Is this true? Correct. Can it also probably fail at doing some simple math once in a while? Yes. However, again, this does not mean that the utilization or the implications are bad. There are certain nuances that make this a difficult problem for these technologies to address, and essentially, the way they are tokenized is different. Are we seeing a new discussion out there? Yes, we are. I'm going to talk about in the next video a paper that Llama has or Google has shared, sorry, Meta has shared, where they're trying to change the way this tokenization happens. Essentially, just go to the raw data and pick it up. But I'll share my point of view. Then there's a lot of discussions about LLMs. I'm not going to share who the person is who put this. That's absolutely not the point. But if you see, there's a lot of debate that LLM companies are sharing that LLMs are memorizing the data and reproducing the training data set or not. And this is a question where it's generating a 2D game character, which is an Italian plumber wearing a hat. And we all know this is Mario. Right. So, yes, is this flawed? Correct. Is this probably the best utilization? True. However, I think there's a long way to go for LLMs to be multimodal. We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg. From 2023 to 2024, we have seen leaps and bounds increase in the ability of processing unstructured data. We just need to give the multimodal capability time. I'm not saying this will be solved by transformer architecture or not. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe you are looking at neurosymbolic AI or a bunch of other techniques which can help around solve this problem. I don't have an answer. But again, these are some of the problems that are being discussed. Then there's another discussion that OpenAI is shifting strategy as the rate of GPT improvement slows down. Is this true? Absolutely. However, this is one of the great articles that I would like to call out. And just to augment this, Apple has also published a paper which I have talked about some time back, where they have talked about limitations of mathematical reasoning in large language model. Is this true? 100%. They're pretty bad at actually processing numerical data if you think about it and if you experiment it. The benchmarks that we see most of the time, the data sets, the matrix itself is not that robust and strong to actually support the argument. So I wouldn't go to a large language model for solving a mathematical problem. However, the point is this does not mean AI is dead, not even close. This also does not mean an end to LLMs. In fact, we are just starting to see the tip of the iceberg in terms of actual implementations. All of these implementations are by far and large academic and trying to chase perfection on top of LLMs. If you are in that world where you're building a large model language model from scratch, then yes, this does have an implication on your work. However, if you're just going towards applying this technology, probably using it to make a workflow or an agent or solve a bunch of problems, then I think you are in pretty good shape, provided you plan around and solve a bunch of these problems like hallucination. You know, the world has definitely shifted gears. There's a lot of reality check happening that, throw a bunch of data in an LLM and get an answer. That's not going to happen. But is the technology a bad technology? Absolutely not. So every time you hear a debate about, some top level Google researcher making a comment, I think they are right in talking about an LLM. But if you are making application software which is getting consumed in a certain domain, then it is very, very important to understand. Along with this, there's as the large language models start to hit the limits, and that's actually natural as to how exponential technologies evolve. Almost every technological pattern would go through some sort of an S curve, which is progress is slow, suddenly starts, and then you start to see failure, and then there's a rapid acceleration. And then the technology begins to change industries. There will be a plateau that will be reached. How fast, how soon, we don't know. Now, the point is this, you know, does this mean the end to an LLM discussion? No. I think there's a lot of different areas which are explored, which are, I would say, skirting the boundaries of large language model and discussion. There's also people and organizations trying to make domain specific large language models, make these large language models more smaller or specific, right? And essentially more efficient and by that definition scalable. As hardware also pushes, as you start to align more with the laws of hardware, I think with smaller models, the ability to do good reasoning and backed by a lot of data within that domain, there's a lot of significant value play that can come into picture. Let's say you have a, let's say, I don't know, support center. And a support center is essentially a function of a large amount of knowledge base. If we reach a point in time where training a large language model is pretty carbon cheap, cost cheap, you can throw all the data that you have within your support centers, your chat log, your call archive, your documentation, and get an LLM which can literally support the entire center. Have we seen this trend before? Yes, BPOs, right? And the same can be extended to multiple other industries. There's a lot of jobs which are knowledge worker jobs, and in those areas, LLMs can have a profound impact. So I leave you with this thought that which part of the conversation are you more interested in? If you are contributing towards language development, then significantly it is significantly important for you to worry about those problems. But if you're worrying about the application part of it, I think it would be much more fruitful to understand how to take that and solve those problems. Getting into the theological debate or just philosophical debate of doomsday scenarios and all of that, don't think that's happening. We are pretty far by AGI, and that's my opinion. And yeah, that's my point of view on all of this topic as to what's happening within this AI state. And this is also a big topic for 2025. I did a video as to one of the key promising topics, what are AI agents, that's going to drive some of technology trends in 2025. I think this discussion is just going to keep on blowing that there's certain things which are wrong in LLMs, and just wanted to clear that air out. All right. If you have listened me throughout the video for the whole of 9 minutes, thank you for listening. Bye bye.